All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Well, Dennis, the market's looking a little bit weak here, starting to put some pressure on yesterday lows. Could have some follow through on the downside we were looking for
You
yesterday.
got to that 1380 number in the after hours session, Joel, and in the pre-market, just like you had talked about. It basically failed there, and we're slowly giving it back. And surprisingly, it's some of the defensive names that are actually leading the charge down here today, Joel.
Okay, Dennis, we'll get to those just in a minute. But let's start with Best Buys turned out to be the worst buy.
Wow, what a turn of events. So we're basically right after the open here. The stock opens up, and then the CEO, it's announced about 10 minutes after, or actually just a few minutes after the market opens, 7 minutes after to be precise. CEO resigns. The stock goes for this huge run up, on the news that we're finally rid of this Dunn guy. Rallies a buck basically, in a matter of a couple of minutes. Slowly drifts down, and then just goes into a steep sell off. Sells off $2. So rallies a buck, then sells off 2. Now we've come back. We're hanging out in this 22 area, but it's looking weak here again, Joel. This is an unbelievable turn of events. Wild volatility in a typically low beta stock.
Yeah, when you see those, when you see the news come out on things like that, and then you see the pursuing rally. I mean, it always strikes to me as like, well, this guy's resigning because he's doing a terrible job. Him resigning is not going to turn the company around. Unfortunately, you could have been shorting that thing anywhere along the way and gotten blown out unless you were using 24 as a major, stop area. But just you have to look at this thing technically, Dennis. That's what we do here at Pre-Market Info. And we just kissed the low of October, 2179. We breached that level, went to 2161, and now we got a mild recovery. So we got to keep an eye over the next couple of days. You remind me, keep an eye on this 2179 level, Dennis, because if that doesn't hold, we're going under $20, Dennis.
Whoa, that's crazy to think about on this stock. But I mean, just so many other companies are eating into the Best Buy pie, I guess. And a lot of people are buying their stuff online now too, Joel. So that definitely hurts the box stores.
I
Coca-Cola.
still like it. I still like Best Buy.
I mean, there's value there. There's no doubt there's some value there. You go in the stores, they seem pretty busy to me. Like, I was in a Best Buy there a couple weeks ago. Seem pretty busy. Like, I don't know if maybe nobody's buying big ticket items, if that's what the problem, or if their margins are too low. But, the stock keeps drifting lower. But the stores seem like they still got, traffic in there. Like, even on that one where I'm in Detroit here, but just down in Taylor there was hardly even any parking spots like in the one a couple weeks ago. So I don't know. It's hard to say, but maybe the margins are just getting squeezed so much that the company's really struggling to make the money that they did. I went for a wild ride in Coke, Joel. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit this morning. Some of these defensive names caught me by surprise. Like the super values and the grocers were up, and I thought maybe some of these beverages might open near the lows and rally up. I was dead wrong on thinking that the beverage. I think I was reaching when he started talking about the beverage company's going to move up off of the grocer. So I was reaching a little bit, but I had it in my brain that maybe it was going to open at the low. So I picked up some a pretty serious stock there at the open at 72.51. Basically, I was down. I was down in a matter of 2 seconds. I was down 40 cents underwater. So, but it's all a matter of figuring. This is why you don't use stops for one reason. Because if I would have had a stop order out there, I probably would have got executed at this low of 72.16. Stock immediately bounces back, starts hanging out in the 72.30s and 40s. I lighten up a bit there, and then into this spike you see here, I lighten up the rest of it. Just because I was underwater, I knew I was wrong right off the bat. The key to managing a successful loser is realizing when you're on the wrong side of the trade. How do you know when you're on the wrong side of the trade? You start losing money. So when I'm, so when I'm underwater there, I get the bounce back, and I was able to actually just lose just a little bit of money on this stock after being down pretty significant money earlier. So, either way, that's the Coke story. My Coke story for today. Sorry, these phones are all going off in the background, but maybe they're Coke's calling me and saying what's going on. But 72.47 is where it's at now. I'm out of the trade, but just telling you, you've got to manage your losers. The whole key to staying in this game is keeping your losers as small as you possibly can. And when you're underwater like that and you get a nice bounce back, take advantage of it. Don't think oh well now I'm going to start making money, because then it started drifting lower and it's come back now. But those spikes are sometimes a pretty good idea to maybe lighten at least up on those longs.
Okay, it looks like the folks that are trading the super value now are not finding as much value now as they did in the pre-market, Dennis.
Yeah, the SVU, Joel, opened up right near the highs, actually. 618, got as high as 631. Crazy move. We talked about the $6 number, so it opened significantly above there. Came back down and now has actually cut through that 6. Slowly drifting down, only up 43 cents now. I don't know if this is going to give this all back, but it's given a lot of it back, Joel. I mean, when you have a dollar move, this thing was up 20% almost at the highs there. So obviously I think that was a little bit overdone. But the stock's come back. It is consolidating here a little bit in this 566 to 575 area, so maybe it could try to move higher. But overall, it's disappointing that it couldn't hold on to those gains a little bit better, Joel.
Yeah, just one thing to note in that we did talk about the pre-market high at 629 as a level of resistance. We only got 2 pennies above that, so it's good to keep an eye on those pre-market levels. Not saying you would have necessarily start initiated a short at that level, but surely if you were long this stock from any time over like the last 4 years, if you were looking for a point to get out, it might have been a good point of reference. Kroger, Dennis, kind of running into that major resistance we talked about at the 23.85 level. Call it a triple top now. Hit 23.83. Now that's pulling back. I guess the street is not all that enamored with the long-term prospects for these grocery stores.
Yeah, it's the same story. It got a pop off the hop, which we thought it might, but they just didn't hold on. I mean, when your leader, who is SVU, starts giving way, it's always a good idea to identify who your leader is. Obviously, it was SVU today. That was the driver for Kroger. That was the driver for Safeway. And when SVU starts to give back those gains, it's usually a green light that you maybe should be thinking about getting out if you have some gains in the Kroger as well. And the Safeway did the same thing. Basically topped out, got his high, Joel, up there at 2047. So really moved up. Open 1998, really flew up. And same thing, just gave most of it back along with the SVU. So it's just key to identify who your leader is. And these are the laggards. So use your leader for an indicator on that. And SVU is your leader on that today.
Okay, yesterday when it looked like we were opening up into the abyss, Dennis, it looked like didn't look like the defensive stocks kind of pulled us out of it, but not getting that same tune today.
No, Procter & Gamble, a lot of these stocks here, Joel, opened down on the day, which is surprising. Well, they opened it just down a little bit below fair value. We were about flat, so they opened down a little bit. But they've just kind of kept moving down here, Joel. And Procter & Gamble actually got as low as 66.30 today. So we did break down through that key level that you had talked about, Joel, at 66.70. When it cut through there, it really hasn't looked back. 66.30. It has bounced back nicely, though, so maybe it comes up and retests this resistance area. And sometimes, where support can become resistance, so maybe you get an opportunity to try a short there at the 66.70 area.
Yep, and just along those lines, J&J opened up a nickel from its high, slicing down. Looks like it's going back down to the end of that bottom of that range. Then is 64 to 66. I mean, that is like clockwork orange there.
It's ridiculous, man. Look how many times, Joel, in the last 3-4 months, we have bottomed out here in the low 64s. 1, 2, 3, not even counting the 64.50 one, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. We've had these multiple bottoms here in the 64.20 to 64.35.40 area. And then if you look on the other side, these 66, we had those 3 cut-throughs all at the identical prices, 66.32, 1, 2, 3. But, at 66, we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, Joel. This is a channelingstocks.com dream stock here. I mean, where do you think it? So it gets down to the 64.30 area. I mean, it's bottom here 14 times.
You have to buy.
Yeah, well,
you have to buy.
If it works 14 times, Joel, you might as well do it the 15th time. I don't know. You keep going with it until it doesn't work anymore. And man, if you were playing this, 2 or 3 months ago, identifying this range early, which we were kind of pointing out on the show a few times, man, you could have played this a lot of times and made a buck or two trading off of that range, Joel.
Okay, not to relive your nightmarish open, Dennis, but could you give it?
No, I didn't have a good open today, Joel. Coke got me, and here I am. I was underwater in the Coke. I had some Pepsi too. I got underwater in that, and then Pfizer. I know you're going into Pfizer, Joel. And here I am. I was so bullish Pfizer. I thought I had that upgrade cross the tape there after hours last night, and I never seen anything about it today. So I was like, well, maybe I was wrong. But for whatever reason here, the stock opens at 22, which was my number. I thought this 22 was solid. Bought a boatload of stock at 22 right on the open, thinking, this is going to be a good one. This 22 is going to hold. Literally, I'm going to just show you a little timeline, a little closer chart here. So literally, I bought it all here at 22 right off the hop. But I got underwater in Coke, underwater in Pepsi, and I was underwater. I had a couple other ones too, and I was like, man, I'm losing on everything out this open. This is just a crappy open. And usually I'm pretty consistent. So when you get underwater like that in 4 or 5 stocks, this thing came back up to scratch for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm just getting out of anything I can scratch right now because this open is just not going well. So I sell it all, basically scratch the trade. I look at it 2 minutes later, it's trading 22.20. I look at it another 5 minutes later, it's trading 22.40. I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Here I was. I had the call on the 22. I had, the position purchased, and I got shaken out because I was getting underwater in some of my other trades. So don't let other trades affect the other trades that you have, because really there was no reason to shake out of this thing for a nickel.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have, taken time to file with the SEC as an insider, because of the size of your position.
I bought too many shares too. Like when you get too big, there's another rule. If you get too big, it'll make you do stupid things. So stake in your comfort zone. Usually I'm in my comfort zone if I'm trading 1,000, maybe up to 2,000 shares. I bought 5,000 shares off the hop, so I thought I was a hero on this, and I was really gonna. So I think it really makes you nervous. You get down a nickel and you're down $250, in seconds. But here if you'd hold on to that thing, 5,000. Well, I wouldn't hold on 5,000 shares probably that long, but definitely, I definitely got shaken out. Probably a little bit to do with my other positions, and definitely I was a little bit bigger than I normally am on a stock like that.
I think you should revenge trade it now, Dennis. I think you
That's
should
the
short.
worst thing to do, Joe. Revenge.
I think you should short 5,000 right here, Dennis.
Crazy.
Stop at 23. But anyways, the S&Ps are pressing down here, Dennis. I don't know if you had any more issues that you wanted to cover, but
that was a tough morning.
Anything else on your open?
Here to everyone that's listening to our show, they can get a kick out of it that we have bad days here at Pre-Market Info too.
But we are bearing down on some major support here, Dennis. I think really the livelihood of this bull market since October is pinging on the low right here at 1370.50. If we take that out, folks, I'm sure there's some stops at 1370. Should easily hit the Globex low at 1366, and our 1364.75 target would be the next level. Looks like today we're going to get our second close below that 1380 level, folks. So for your long-term players on the show, call your broker, start looking for some protection. We've had a great run here in the market, and there's no reason, if people tell you to buy the dip, well, sell the dip for a change. That's our 10:30 update for the day, folks, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.